Xerfi Global has recently published a study on steelmakers who have been facing a number of challenges for many years. Oversupply and overcapacity, input price volatility, demand centre shifts and competition from substitutes, as well as currently falling steel prices, have made healthy margins hard to come by. This combination of factors has meant the average aggregate EBIT margin of the steelmakers analysed has remained below a lacklustre 5% since 2010. It is true that demand for steel has been on the up over the last decade, growing at an annual rate of 4.7% from 2004 to 2013. But production volumes have continuously outpaced demand, resulting in chronic oversupply. Unfortunately for steelmakers, the near future does not seem to hail in a major improvement in conditions. Global apparent steel consumption is estimated to grow at around 2% over the next few years. This is a downward revision of previous forecasts due to the slower growth expected in developing economies in coming years. I say developing economies in plural, but there is one economy in particular that plays a huge role in the steel industry, and that is, unsurprisingly, China. China has become the centre of gravity of steelmaking on both the demand and production side. In terms of demand, it consumes almost half of the world's steel. It is also now responsible for almost half of the world's production of steel. Thus, the fate of steelmaking is highly dependent on China. This does not bode well for the industry, as not only is China's growth slowing, but it is also undergoing a structural transformation away from industrial and residential investment, factors which had been driving demand, to focus on internal consumption. In this context, China's dual role as a major demand driver and producer of steel leads to a dual threat. Not only does falling demand depress the global market, leaving steelmakers worldwide wondering who to sell to, but despite some moves to reduce capacity, production in China remains high, meaning large amounts of low-cost exports are now coming out of China and flooding the market, posing a threat to mature market steelmakers in their home countries. If there is any light at the end of the tunnel, it comes from the improving US economy, where steel consumption should grow at around 2% in 2015, and in stabilising Europe, where growth may even exceed this. In this environment, steelmaking groups are following several strategies to ensure survival. They are carefully examining their assets and optimising portfolios, divesting assets with little promise for value creation. Capital investment is also being cut back and spending is selective, whether upstream to ensure raw material security or downstream to ensure sales. Furthermore, consolidation with an increase in merger and acquisition activity may be on the horizon, bringing about some rationalisation.